Hello and welcome to Glasgow Rangers Nation with me, your host, Owen James, the channel that brings you your team every single day. Guys, apologies, no lives today on Friday, the 2nd of August. Work's just too full on at the moment. I'm absolutely shattered from unfortunately my real job. I wish this was my real job. But bringing you a video now, just a short video, bringing you the Champions League squad, which has sort of been revealed in the last couple of hours, and give you sort of my take on that. We'll talk a little bit about the Philippe Clement contract situation, and obviously a bit of preview of the Hearts game in tomorrow's match day news. Anyway, looking at the squad that has been revealed, no surprise in terms of the goalkeeping positions. Jack Butland, Liam Kelly, and Budanovskis are the three named goalkeepers on the UEFA squad list. Now, one thing you are going to notice from this squad list that there is no Ross McCausland, no Bailey Rice, no Cole McKinnon, Adam Devine, etc., etc. That is because these players will qualify through the homegrown quota, and as they are home sort of produced through the Rangers Academy, they are homegrown players. You don't have to name them in your squad. You can just use them as and when you wish. So the goalkeepers, I think that's obviously that's it. That's all we've got at this stage. Two very good goalkeepers, a good starter, and obviously a very good backup as well. So no worries, no sort of fears in those areas at all. As regards, the goalkeeping situation going forward. Looking at the defensive situation, so the defenders, and there's one name I think there that will stand out to everybody. That's James Tavernier has been named in the Euro squad, and given the news obviously that Dujon Sterling is not fit to play against Hearts on Saturday and is touch and go for Tuesday, I think it is highly likely we will see James Tavernier start at right back in both of those games. No matter what your feelings are, I suppose that is the way it is. It's the way it has to be. Obviously, Leon King, again, is another one who comes through the homegrown route, so doesn't have to be named in the squad formally. The rest of the defenders named are Ridvan Yilmaz, obviously Robin Proper, John Suter, Dujon Sterling, Hefte, Ben Davis, and Leon Balogun. Now, you look at those names there, those 8 names that have been named. You've got the 2 left backs, 2 right backs with Sterling and Tavernier. Sterling obviously can fill in midfield. There is a sparsity of midfielders on the squad list, but again, like I said, that will be supplemented by obviously Cole McKinnon, Bailey Rice, the fact that Dujon Sterling can play in midfield as well. Obviously, having Proper there is good news. Having him in time and signed, and obviously paperwork cleared for the Champions League is good news. Touch and go whether he'll be ready for the Hearts game due to the paperwork. That's again, it's probably the strongest we can name at this moment in time. Personally speaking, I don't have any worries about Ben Davis in Europe. I think in Europe he's actually all right because the European football suits his style a little bit more. He's not a rough, tough physical. He's not great in the air, which is not how European football is played. European football on the whole is played on the ground. It is very technical. It's much more technical than the SPL. So, look, decent. He's decent enough in Europe. We can discuss the whys and wherefores of this squad, shortly, whether they're good enough to progress against Dynamo Kiev. But that's the squad as it stands. So obviously, James Tavernier probably is the standout name there. I think a lot of us would have thought, going into this Champions League qualifiers, that James Tavernier wouldn't have been there, that he would have been moved on by the manager and would have gone to Saudi or to Turkey or to somewhere. But it appears that we are stuck with him until at least until the window closes on August the 30th. The midfielders, obviously, this is where the sparsity of players comes in, as you can see from names. But like I said, Ross McCausland, Cole McKinnon can obviously come through the homegrown side of it. Oscar Cortez, Connor Barron, Mohamed Diamande, and Kieran Dowell. Dowell in the squad. It was interesting to see Dowell. He's obviously stayed fit. I think my personal opinion on Kieran Dowell is, if the lad stays fit, if the lad, doesn't, get himself injured, he's actually quite a talented player. He's good with the ball at feet. He can use the ball well. He can go out wide. He can cross the ball. He can hit a shot. He's not a bad footballer. So I think as long as he stays fit, that's it's decent that he's there. Oscar Cortez, obviously one of the standout names, along with, of course, that midfield pairing of Barron and Diamande, which are, by my estimations, one of the best midfield pairings in Scotland. Will be one of the best midfield pairings in Scotland this season. The forwards that have been named are Cyril Dessers, Tom Lawrence, Rabbi Matondo, Václav Cherny, Scott Wright. Yes, looks like Scott Wright is going absolutely nowhere. I honestly don't think he is, and I could honestly see him getting a contract extension at the club. I think the manager actually really likes Scott Wright. I think the manager I could see the manager using Scott Wright as a 10 at some point this season. I also think Scott Wright will start against Hearts because obviously, the manager did say today that Václav Černý is not ready straight away. He has had obviously the Euros. He's only been back a few weeks, limited training, etc., etc. So I can see Scott Wright starting both the games against Hearts and against Dynamo Kiev on Tuesday. Hamza Igman is named in the squad, so obviously the worries over his fitness are clearly not there. He wouldn't be named in the squad if he was unfit and injured. And Danilo Pereira obviously is the other name there as well. Good to see him on that squad list. Again, forwards wise, I still think we look a lot light in that position. There's no clinical striker there for me. My worry, and to those of you who love Cyril Dessers, I know there's a fair few of you out there, his European record for Rangers is pretty poor. I mean, the guy's only scored one goal in Europe the whole of last season, which, for a main striker is not good. And, the chances he missed against Benfica and against PSV, for example, did come back to haunt Rangers. So look, that is a worry. I think the hope is obviously that Danilo can be fit and Danilo can be raring to go. He's probably our best option up front, I think, in this competition. Matondo, flat as to deceive. I think he's an impact sub. Tom Lawrence will probably be the starting 10 if we play with a 10. That seems to be where Clement really likes Tom Lawrence, although Lawrence can play in that midfield too if required. Now, one of the other names that obviously will stand out to everyone as not being on that squad list is Todd Cantwell, even though he is still with the club, clearly indicating that the manager is unwilling to use him if he is continuing to obviously stand by his desire to leave the club. So no Todd Cantwell in that Champions League squad. Look, that's the squad. We've got to obviously get behind the boys. I'd be hopeful that we can do this. We can get through. We can beat Kiev. It's going to be a very, very tough ask. They are a very, very good team. Some very talented players. Yarmolenko, Van Aert, for example. They looked very good against Partizan Belgrade. I mean, at times, yeah, they didn't have to because I think they were in second gear in that second leg because I think everyone knew that tie was well and truly over. But this will be a tough game, a very tough game. You've got to just hope the squad can come together, can get themselves into a place to be ready to play. I mean, Philippe Clement talked about the fact that, in a month's time that we may see the best of Rangers, that it may take a further month for us to really see them clicking together. But that's the squad, guys. Let me know what you think of the squad. Interesting, isn't it, that Wright and Tavernier are there? I know it's just for this round and you can make 2 changes. Obviously, the other name that is missing is Nicholas Raskin. Raskin is injured and will not be involved in these Dynamo Kiev ties. Although fit, he could be could be substituted into the squad for somebody else if he's fit for the next round. That is the thing. Now, Rangers can make 2 changes. And there are emergency transfer rules. You can bring in players, but that's a players newly signed to the club. If you've got existing players who are not on that list, like Nicholas Raskin, for example, he can be put into the squad where 2 changes can be made if Rangers get through to the playoff round. Guys, let me know what you think. As always, guys, please, please, please hit that sub. And on the way out, do me 2 favors. Number 1, smash that like. And number 2, remember always, we are the people.